installing a piece on Wednesday, which is called If You Were Born on 9/11, You're 18. Because that's the case. If you were born on 9/11, you would be 18. Now, what this installation is an installation of a previous installation called The Discourse on the Polarizing Events of 2001. Discourse on Polarizing Events spells dope. And we used to call it the Dope 2K1, just to make it simple to remember. And we used it as a file name in those days. Of course, this is 2001, so there's none of the contemporary digital media. The digital media of that time was stored on, a variety of drives, basically, if you will. What's going on? Oh, my phone is reacting. I don't know if you guys are hearing that. Maybe I'm the only one hearing it. I hear something. I'm supposed to be hearing what you're hearing, so. Oh, good. So APF has confirmed that she's cool. Let's get back to the point at hand. This installation is comprised of material from 9/11/2001 in New York City. I was a member of we can say I was a member, but I'm never a member of only one thing, really, and even that. I'm a tenuous joiner. I don't join. But I assisted from the outside and was there definitely at the birth of it. And in fact, the phone number of that place was my first phone number in New York, Brooklyn. And we were all there when it was happening. And as artists met and decided we were going to make different things, and I decided to make a composite type of thing, which was I wanted to work with a couple of others, and we would collect as much material as we possibly could about what people were saying at the time and what was being put out in national and international media at the time as well, in valent balance. So the question then became, how where it was going to go. And as an artist, for me, it was about trying to find voices that were not finding voice, and it was about a lot of things. It was an intense, violent event, probably the most violent event that ever happened, in that proximity to me. I was less than a mile away, probably. No, it's not. Say about 3.5 miles away. And it was a horrible day, and the days that followed were horrible as well. But as an artist and as an author and as a journalist, I tried to stay level, which I did. I didn't drink at all during that time. I didn't consume things. I went around collecting material from people, and the other people I knew did too, in those first handful of days. Well, then as we began doing that, it grew. So this is a thing that covers kind of from 9/11 to say about December 11, so the 3 months in New York. And it's hundreds and dozens and, lots of people's recollections, thoughts, poetry, ephemera, journalistic reports on their situations, photographs. And it has been installed a couple of times as it was growing. On the first anniversary, it was installed in pieces as a piece that was going on in 2002 as a part of Us Equals Them. And then in 2006, on the 5th anniversary, it was installed at the Center for Book Arts in New York. And then that winter, so that would be 9/11, obviously, so that toured Minneapolis and San Francisco. That was 2006. So that's 1, 2, 3 times on the 5th year anniversary. But that was the highest exposure because maybe something like 17,000. I think we calculated about 17,000 people, and we were being conservative, saw it in that 5th anniversary year. Then on the 10th anniversary year, I installed it in a small gallery, and I just sat with it. So a handful of people saw it in Oakland, California. My objective for that was that And one of the things we've noticed with this installation is that when people come to it, they often come with questions because they saw this through the news. They weren't there. And so some of their questions are answered, others are raised. And so then they come to us, often Amy, my collaborator, and I, with questions or with trying to get clarification or with gratitude. We've had people bring us material. An event like this has PTSD associated with it that is unmeasurable, and the post-traumatic stress has clearly affected many people for decades beyond, not to mention the political and social ramifications of what the reaction of the powers that happened to be in charge at the time and all the fallout. So the event itself becomes hard to talk about and hard to observe. And so we tried really hard to capture this faithfully. And I haven't shown it since then. So it hasn't been shown since the 10th anniversary. That's 8 years ago. And each year I think to myself, well, should we put it out? Well, not if there's not a good reason. Or if I don't have a good space. Those are the two things I would require, a good reason and good space. Well, this year, it's the 18th year since the attacks. So we can say, and that is the title of the installation, if you were born on 9/11, you're 18. Empty Karthik 2019. And the gallery I happen to have, because I'm renting space in this place, and there's a gallery in the front area, and they're willing to support an installation of the Dope 2K1. So this is going to be a different version. I'm going to install the Dope 2K1, and then I'm going to install a station that's all about the 5th anniversary of the Dope 2K1, because we covered the people doing that as well. Well, first the 2nd anniversary. So it's going to be the Dope 2K1, then the 2nd anniversary of the events at hand. No, it's the 1st anniversary. God, see, it's even confusing to talk about. So you walk in, it's about 9/11 and the 3 months that happened after it. That's the primary. The next station will be 1 year later, and all the material related to that. The next station will be 5 years later, and all the material related to that. And the last station is a bibliography of collected materials from lots and lots of different people that you may or may not be aware of, and some of which have been discontinued or only existed for a brief moment, or etc. And it'll be set up like a library. And I will be the librarian, the curator. And I'll be in the front, and I'll have a small computer, a chair next to me, and if people have questions, we'll quietly answer the questions together. So the logic here is to share with people in San Antonio, where I grew up, what my view of the events in New York was. And this piece is not one that I show. This will be in this form with the complexity that we're talking about, because the first year doesn't count. That was just the thing in progress. It was crazy. It was just loose documents the first year. So we're talking about in this form, it's been shown 1, 2, 3. This will be the 5th time since 9/11. Because this is not material you can chat about in an arty way or in a political way or in a social way. It's very heavy, somber, violent, tragic, sad, painful stuff. It's not for everybody. So I'm going through the discs now, and I found we did a performance piece that traveled the country right immediately after, and the title of it was Even the Birds Were on Fire. So that's the audio from that. And that's going to be with me in there, and we're going to be playing that. So I'm pulling CDs out of here to see which ones are related to 9/11. I have a huge stack. This is all... There's some archival material that's loose. I have a lot of archival material like this that's super organized, but there's some that's pretty loose. And I was thinking it'd be cool to have some audio to play during the thing. And so I'm looking for material that's specifically related to the events at hand here on Middle Perch Live today. I am NTK on the MIC. We're talking about a 9/11 installation that I'll be doing. It's kind of private, but I'll leave this running